le prix de la critique.
Chris Ware pour Jimmy Corrigan.
Chris Ware n'est pas dans la salle, mais peut-être Guy Delcourt, son éditeur.
Alors racontez-nous Chris Ware.
Je l'ai jamais vu, donc c'est difficile. Mais bah oui, mais on a beaucoup correspondu. Il est très content de notre travail. Il nous félicite énormément. Donc il est enchanté à tel point qu'il ne voulait pas venir, il préférait que je sois là à sa place.
Prix Alpha du meilleur album. And the winner is...
Chris Ware, bien sûr, pour Jimmy Corrigan. C'est-à-dire que pour moi, personnellement, ça a été une expérience fabuleuse. C'était 1 an d'immersion dans son univers qui est magnifique, qui est d'une richesse extraordinaire qu'on ne peut pas épuiser, même en une dizaine de lectures. Comme il n'est pas là, je voudrais en profiter pour le remercier, lui, pour ce magnifique cadeau qu'il nous a fait à tous.
Merci.
Chris Ware, la révélation du dernier festival d'Angoulême, est quelqu'un qui ne se montre guère. Si ses dessins évoquent la ville où il habite, Chicago, c'est un Chicago d'un autre temps, celui des années 1890. Il vit loin du centre, dans une banlieue si tranquille qu'elle en deviendrait inquiétante.
I think probably the earliest comics I really cared about were Peanuts by Charles Schulz, because it was the first time that I really cared about the characters. I cared about what happened to Charlie Brown. I even wrote him a Valentine on Valentine's Day because I felt so sorry for him. I didn't realize at the time how actually unique that was to comics, because I think there's only, that's just about the only comic strip where you really empathize with or sympathize with the characters and you really care about them. They really felt real. When I was a kid, I really felt like they were my friends or something. So I don't know if that made me want to be a cartoonist, but it was the strip I probably liked most. And discovering Robert Crumb's work, I think, was probably the thing that really clinched it for me. So realizing that you could actually do something human and real and affecting in comics. I think his stuff it changed everything. He was the first person to really do something that was self-expressive in comics. I saw Crumb's stuff when I was in high school, and then I found Raw. Shortly thereafter, there was a comic shop I used to go to as a kid, and in the back of the comic shop, the comic owner had all these boxes of sort of like adult comics, and I was just trying to find dirty pictures, basically. I was like 17 years old, and there was a copy of Raw stuck in the back, and I was looking for pornography, basically, and I pulled that out. I thought, well, this is kind of interesting, and I ended up taking it home. And I would say that probably changed my life. And I know that if I hadn't seen Raw, I don't think I'd even be drawing comics, probably. But
the way I actually found out about Chris Ware's work was kind of funny, because somebody had done an interview with me in a college newspaper in Texas, and they sent me the clipping afterwards. And the article was just one more stupid article about Mouse. But on the back, there was half of a comic strip that had appeared in this college paper, and it was really interesting. It didn't look like anything else, and I was excited by it.
Art had seen the article and just called me up out of nowhere and said that he was interested in seeing my stuff, which was sort of like getting a call from the President of the United States. I mean, here was a guy who'd been publishing a magazine that I had essentially studied every single inch of and had influenced everything from my thinking to my drawing. And all of a sudden he called me out of nowhere. It was pretty amazing and very rewarding.
And Chris, who's a very kind of shy guy, was almost tongue-tied and horrified by my phone call, saying, I admire Raw very much, but I'm not ready. Maybe in 10 years I could do something for Raw. I said, no, this is really great, man. Just give us something. We'd like to have your work.
So I started sending him my stuff, and then eventually he invited me to contribute, which I couldn't believe. I mean, he's been more supportive than any other person, I think. There were times where I just thought I was just going to give up drawing comics, and he would be supportive and kind of, you know, cheer me on or something like that. And I'm sort of grateful for that. So, sort of like a, you know, like a good dad or something like that. Like, you know, just keep working. So, very inspiring. So,
I'm very proud of having been able to spot his work early, and he's one of the most important comics artists if, being published anywhere in the world right now. His Jimmy Corrigan book seems to me to have a kind of formal Joycean complexity that shows what a really visually literate comic can be. And what's more amazing is that it actually does have an emotional strength, that it's not just some kind of formal experiment. It's a rather moving literary work.
I just remember self-consciously trying to do comics that had emotions to them other than simply being funny or being adolescent or being irreverent or something. It seemed like there'd been enough of that. I didn't really want to do that. I wanted to try to get at a feeling that was more far-reaching, or not necessarily sad, but just to try to get at a more of a sense of life at it, rather than poking fun at something or being upsetting, I guess, so, if that makes sense. So. Drawing comics is extremely difficult. It's very, very hard. It's very labor intensive, and if anything, I think other cartoonists we talk to each other, just sort of commiserate about how difficult it is and how long it takes, because it's not like writing at all. There's nothing about comics that keeps you going.